What's up, everybody? We're on Set Life. My name is Hozana Arceri. I'll be hosting the episode today, and we have the pleasure of interviewing Erica Gallegos. Awesome talent, and let's hop right into it.
You're watching Set Life Season 4.
So, Erica, you are a woman of many talents. I've had you for sure acting in some stuff I've done, from films to commercials, you name it. You have a theater background. You dance, you sing. I just found that one out not too long ago.
You weren't supposed to find out.
I found out. You do a lot of different stuff, and it's all really cool, creative things. Just give me a little bit of like, where did that start? Where did some of that creativity kind of bubble up in your life? And maybe at what age, did you begin showing interest in like theater or acting or any of that?
Yeah. So, I would say that started real young, and I actually kind of deviated away from it towards my like early 20s and kind of stepped back in. I think the only consistent was dance. So yeah, the only constant was probably dance from the get-go. But acting and directing are the most natural. So way more natural than dance.
Sure.
So it started when I was really little, and I was the kiddo that would watch a film, memorize the film, and then perform the film for our like car rides with our family. And my parents were just sick of it, and they just kind of like got used to it.
Not again.
Yeah. Or I would like, I would hear something on the radio, and it would like be a trigger line for a movie scene. And then I would just like almost on autopilot just go and recite the scene.
Wow.
And my parents just kind of got used to it, and my siblings got used to it. And eventually I got like clever enough to like talk them into doing scenes with me, and we'd put on, half a movie for the parents. And just cause I remember one time we were coming back, we were almost to Disney World, and we had another like 2 hours left. And so we recited the entire film of The Lion King 1.5.
Wow.
From start to finish.
Not like one, not two, that in-between one that everyone kind of forgets.
Yeah.
Y'all recited that whole
and
thing.
It's so underappreciated. But yes, the entire film. And we finished the scene, we finished the final scene. And my mom turned to my dad, and she was like, we got to do something with this. But it was kind of fun.
Wow.
And so that started off, dance started probably around 5. Acting probably didn't start until 10. And then, for a while I took some anxiety in it. And I think for me, I had a lot of really amazing people around me, but I didn't have a lot of rooms that I needed to prove myself in. So the art of auditioning, just the space to be able to be rejected and to still stand in your own craft. I didn't know that as a kiddo. I didn't have a need to know that.
Sure.
And my character suffered. My own personal character suffered because of it. And so I remember having a callback when I was maybe 16, and I was so anxious. I was beside myself. I wasn't okay. I hadn't started driving yet, and my mom pulled me over on the way to the callback, and she pulled over into a Office Depot parking lot. And it's bare parking lot. I will literally remember this for the rest of my life because I'm so grateful, but I hated it in the moment. She pulled me over, and she pulled the car over, and she looks me in the eye, and she says, "Honey, I love you. And I think you're very talented. There will be other productions, but your audition is over today."
Wow.
And she wasn't kidding. I mean, I was like bawling my eyes out. My attitude was horrible. I was beside myself. I was just so anxious. There wasn't a lot of character developed within it. And I just didn't know enough to know how to distance yourself from the craft to where your identity is not in whether or not you get the audition, because I kept getting the role. I had directors like inviting me, and it was all for musical theater. It was a small theater. It wasn't this big bucks kind of thing, but it was enough to shake my peace, and my mom was not willing to let that go into adult years. And so she cut me off right at 16, and then I didn't come back for years. I started up a little bit right after I graduated high school. And then maybe 3 years after that, I started directing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
We love it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about just kind of walking that out.
Yeah.
You know, from like, we throw the term around a lot on set and then production. It's like, production is all about problem solving. It's
Right.
about how can I problem solve? But then really problem solving, if you look at it on the other side of the coin, is it's really a lot of failing that you figure out how not to do.
Right.
And so like, walk me a little bit about how you went from experiencing failure for the kind of the first time,
Right.
well, not failure, but like denial or rejection. You know, it can be received as failure if you're in the work side of it.
Yeah.
How did you get on the other side of that?
Yeah.
Like kind of where you're at today, where you're one of those people who walks in the room and you know that's a confident person. And so like, talk me through how you went from this like, oh my gosh, and you were young, but like there's transition somewhere in there.
Right.
Like, what was that transition like? What was that moment where I said, I got over that hump of like, maybe I don't like being in front of camera, or maybe I'm not used to this, or I wasn't willing to give on that. Like, where was that transition for you?
I can't tell that story without just talking about Jesus and what he
We love him
broke
here.
off of me. Yeah. No, so when I was in my senior year of high school, I had depression just cracked off me. And then I spent that next year just kind of walking that out. And I love to talk about this, but I think we associate depression with this just like morose sadness, and you're just constantly crying. And for a lot of people, I think it is just a lack of feeling, like almost numb.
Yep.
And that's just not of God. It's not of our design. It's not the way we're made to be.
Right.
And when that got cracked off me, there was a practice that had to kind of come into play each day where I learned how to walk in something healthier. Because when you receive breakthrough, healthy is not necessarily always the comfiest thing, because it's not always necessarily what you know.
Sure.
And you want to lean on what you know. And I got around people I was in a Bible school, a ministry school called All Nations over at Dwelling Place Church. And I was in a room every day with people just because we wanted to talk about Jesus. And that was our common denominator. And we went and did missions work. And it really helped me having a space where it just wasn't about me. It just wasn't about you, you know?
That always helps.
Yeah, and we started with Dwell. So no matter how long it took you to get into the room, we would start each class day with just spending time with the Lord. And baby Erica, who had 5,000 things to do, I was still teaching all the things. That really just was hard because I had to like focus.
Yeah.
And it just kind of reset me.
Wow.
And it was great.
Come on.
And when you know who you are, when you know that identity, and it's just kind of rooted in you, then it impacts your art, as opposed to knowing what healthy art looks like and trying to emulate that.
Sure.
Like
That's really
when it's
good.
at your core, then it kind of comes out in what you do. And so if you know directing, or if you know production, it changes the way you hold a rehearsal space. It changes the way you, it even changes what contracts you choose.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. And yeah. And so freedom came, and freedom was practiced, and freedom was held. And and then by the time I got to kind of circle back and look at why I had left the art, because I got some really great intentioned bad advice that you're just going to fall away from your faith if you continue with the arts, and that you need to just plug on. And it was just fear. And it wasn't this like surrounding voice in my entire community. It wasn't anything like that, but it was just a couple moments from people or in rooms where I was really just subject to listen. And I would even go so far as to say that it could have even just been the way I applied their advice.
Sure.
Like when the enemy is scared of what God wants to do through you, man, like that's it. Like you either can hear God or you can choose not to. And so just kind of figuring out how to walk with the presence of Jesus as a human being first, and then letting that apply to your art changes, and things that scared you, things that gave you anxiety before, auditions that just had your identity just didn't anymore.
Wow.
And
So good.
And then it became about playing.
Man,
It was pretty
come
fun.
on. That's awesome. And it pulls out your creativity too, I feel like, right? I mean, across the board, from being a guy who holds camera to being somebody in front of camera.
Yeah.
I think when you walk that out with him, and when you truly experience like that level of he's walking with you, then I think the true level of your creativity comes out too. Come on. Right? Like your creative self can come up with an idea, but it's usually coming from like a base of something. You emulate this because, that was cool, so my creativeness wants to do that.
Right.
It's kind of like the term is like if you can make the 1.0 of something, you know, everybody can make a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, but like the 1.0 is where it really mattered. And so from the creativity conversation that we're having here, how important is that in your walk to be able to have that, right? Like I'm trying to relate it in more of the acting kind of lane.
Sure.
So picture if Christopher Walken at a young age with his little voice
Right.
that he has, you know, would have been told, hey, man, we want you to do this, but just you can't do that. We don't
Right.
want that tone.
Right.
If he would have accepted that, he wouldn't be probably where he's at today, I'd like to think, right? But he
Right.
chose to say, no, this is me. If you don't want me, you don't get anything else. You get
Right.
me. How important is that to stay true to yourself from talent, not just in creating pieces, because you direct things too, but
Yeah.
from on camera, how important is it to stay true to who you are, but also give a little bit of leniency to like what they're wanting to?
Sure.
Because that's what the creativity is.
I would say it's so important,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's about kind of finding your why. So
Yeah.
in acting, we always say you got to find your motive, right? You got to know your who, what, when, where, and why to tell a whole story. When we tell whole stories, but if you don't have your who, what, when, where, and why as a human being, then you're kind of just subject to anyone else who has a stronger answer than yours.
It's good.
And so when you know who you are and what you're going to run for, you get excited about other people who also know who they are and what they want to run for. And so I can have this idea for a character. Let's say you're directing me. I have this idea for a character and I am locked in on my approach. But my why is grounded. And you have this totally other idea, and me hearing your reason for it doesn't shake my why. Mine's already prepared.
Right.
I can approach this character as I need to, but we're subject to your vision. We're enjoying your vision, and we're not scared of it.
Yeah.
Because we know why for this one over here for my own version. So when you're not shaky in what you're bringing, you get excited about what someone else is bringing.
Come on. That's awesome. That's super helpful to have too. I feel like from being on the other side, being on camera and having a talent that understands that, I think that's a big deal because you'll get a lot of people that are, I'm not going to say stubborn. That's probably too strong of a word, but they don't want to give up. They don't want to like give in to that. They're like, no. It's either this or nothing. I'm not changing for what your vision is because they don't have that why. They don't really, it's not in there. They just feel like, okay, I'm good at this. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I will say directing makes you a better actor though.
Wow. Can you expound on that a little bit? Because give some background, give some context. What are you directing? What's
So
some awesome stuff that you're working
I just
on?
finished directing Hunchback for a high school. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is a musical, and we actually have 2 Tommy 2 nominations. So that's pretty cool. So proud of our students. And then I was the choreographer for Matilda in a non-for-profit organization called National Youth Theater. So Concordia Lutheran High School, National Youth Theater, shout out. And it's so great to be in spaces where you are producing, just in rooms that are looking your way and hiring you for contracts because you love Jesus and not in spite of it. It's a different room. It's great. It's the best. So I dance for a company. Currently I dance for Magnify Dance Company, have been for almost 11 years now. Love them to pieces, and they are home and family. So all that to say, when I started directing, that started opening up different doors for me, and different companies wanted to hire me in, which was really cool and exciting. And it was definitely something that I was so interested in and had this picture that I wouldn't be able to touch for another like 10 years.
Wow.
I had a good friend, Justin Parks, coming up to me and just say, hey, you need to kind of try this contract. And I was like, thank you so much. Not yet.
Yeah.
And he kind of like hoodwinked me in. He was like, okay, well then just come in and assist.
Yeah.
And I'll take on 2 contracts at a time. And then he had to drop one, and he said, I either have to hire you or I have to hire someone else.
Wow.
And I already committed my time, and he just kind of covered me, and it was really great.
That's cool.
Spoke so much life into me. But when you are an actor, let's say you're one of the leaders, maybe you're a young actor and you're used to having different directors, producers come and speak into you, and you just really want to make sure that whatever you're spending your time on isn't going to be silly or it's not going to make you look stupid. And you want to be, whether your goal is to just further your acting career or you just want to make a quality production, at some point you have to decide what level of trust you have in the producer, right?
Wow, it's good.
You just have to.
Yeah.
And that can change on your age and your experience and your practice at trust. But often, especially for young actors, like if you're, I would say teens, 20s, as we go into our 30s, it can be it has to be intentional to just surrender that trust. And if you are used to seeing the problem and fixing it, and you've never produced before, like if I have never produced and you are our director, you are our producer, whatever, you're our authority for it, and you're casting vision. I have to decide you know what you're doing in order to submit to some degree.
Right. Okay.
And if I haven't produced yet, I might think that the best thing I can do is try to think ahead of you and solve your problems for you.
Wow, that's good.
And after being on the producing side and directing productions, and I did this one production that had a cast of 117, and we had teams of just hundreds, and it was phenomenal. It was so fun, but so many people, so many people. Probably I would say a team of over 100, and then a cast of 117. But when you have so many working hearts and you really want to run with a production, if even 50 of my 117 have that same heart of, I'm going to try to think ahead of her, I want to fix it for her.
Right.
It doesn't actually get us to our goal quicker.
Nope.
And it doesn't sync up on a vision. We're just creating baby visions.
Right.
And so the kiddo that was an actor only, that kept just trying to problem solve for the director that looked overwhelmed, kind of changed when she became her own director. And then she went back into performing and acting. I started looking at what the director needed and why they were requesting what they were requesting right now.
Sure.
And how can I support what they are trying to accomplish right now?
Yeah.
Instead
really
of,
good.
do they know that this is not going to open them out? Like,
Yeah.
you just don't. And if you can walk in that with joy, it changes a room.
Wow, that's
Which
so
is
good.
pretty cool.
We've talked about it a little bit today, even some other episodes of people talking about it's coachable. It's I'm staying in my lane. I'm trusting the other person that they're in their lane, right? And I think that's such a cool blend from director, producer, whatever you want to DP even, but really director to actor. I think is so crucial of that trust you're talking about. We were just on a set not too long ago where you were the actress on that, and it was so cool watching you ask questions to the director. As I'm sitting there holding the camera, I'm like, it's a really good question. I didn't think to ask that, and I'm supposed to be like also in that lane. And so it's cool hearing you take that approach of like, okay, I know you want to pull this out of me. I'm not asking why you want to pull that out of me for objection's sake, but it's like, I'm wanting to learn more about the role you want me in.
Yeah.
And I think there's a clear difference, and it goes back to like the coachable of, I'm asking you why, not because I object to you. I'm asking you why because I want to give you the best I can give you.
Right.
That's such a cool like mental state to keep your place in when you're on camera or even off. I think on a team oriented position, because it is a big thing. It is a really big important thing in our industry to be team players.
One of my favorite questions to bring into a space like that is there another way you can ask, or is there another way you can say that?
Yep.
Not to say that the first way they said it doesn't work, but just so that director can hear that you really want what they want for you. You're not just trying to find your own spin on their direction. You want to receive their vision in its purest form.
Yeah.
Because they also have to trust you.
Yep.
Every time. And it's so sweet. I love to say this, but you never feel more vulnerable than when your own production, your own musical, your own art is being displayed.
Yeah.
You are never more vulnerable than opening night. Like it's just, and I felt like that whenever I would be in a production, especially if I got the chance to be a lead and I was like, okay, maybe they won't like my approach. Maybe they won't like my take on the character, right? And you feel exposed in that. You should feel exposed in that. Anytime you pull your art in front of an audience. When you're directing, when you're producing, your heart is exposed in the shade of costume colors, in the lighting design, in the editing, like in everything. It's the most vulnerable, and it's so rich because of it. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's why people appreciate it too. When it is not just because it's good, but when it's something they can see that in your production. You know, they can see that, hey, I'm like, I've never seen Hunchback, but I'm pretty sure I could go tell when somebody's worked hard on something, when it's okay, I see that heart being worn on the sleeve, or I can tell that the time and effort that was put into that was genuine. It wasn't just to try and wing it or do it. I think that speaks volumes to others who may not get to see that, like taking risk and putting your heart on your sleeve per se, to take that risk to be vulnerable. I think that's what creative filmmaking is, in our lanes, from acting, from directing and DPing. Like, it's us being vulnerable and taking a risk. I'm pushing that storyline.
Right.
Cool. That's not the storyline everybody per se wants. But it's like, you know what? I'm going to go there. I want to explore that. Like, we just had another episode where we were talking about just how crazy deep stories can go that push your humanity of like thought of yourself, or that explore areas that you don't want touched. I don't want those tension areas touched.
Right.
But you know what I'm going to do? We're going to make a storyline that goes right there. So all that comes right back up in you. You buried it, but now we're bringing it all back up.
Right.
Because it makes it real. And I think that's what good creative production is making things real to people that may have hidden some things that need to be brought back up, or in a good way. Or it's stuff that's like, oh, I want to think about that again. I want to think about that joy I just saw on camera. Like, why don't I have that joy? Why don't I have that emotion that person's having in that moment? Like, I want that. Like, you know, I always love seeing it when, and this is done so many different ways, but like couples interacting on camera. It's a husband and a wife.
Yeah.
That can, you know, whether it's the negative of like they're fighting, or whether it's the positive of like they have a good relationship.
Right.
I think exploring the depth of that from a humanitarian sake is so cool, because it's now the person wants something, or they want to get rid of that. They want to engage with that scene right away. Talk to me a little bit about like
draw.
Yeah, draw. There's a draw in it. You know, it's real, but it's like a draw, because it's so real that I want to have that, or I want to know what that's like, right? And I think that's pulled out from a director, but it's really pulled out from the actor and actress as well, to be able to express that. Like, I'm gonna reference it again because we were just on it, but the recent production we were shooting, we were, I think, having you kind of have like flashbacks or dreams or thoughts that were troubling you on that scene. Walk me through the process of like, when did you get told that was what it's going to be? What was the planning like for you? Or was it like, I'm gonna just do it in the moment? Or how as an actress do you prepare for something like that?
So one thing I love to say is, I mean, I know there's the cheesy quote of like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, which is always great. And there's some value to it, but it can't be your only source of peace. Like, there's sometimes you're going to have someone come up at, you know, a later call, and you're going to be like, oh yes, I want to take this opportunity. One thing I absolutely love. So for that production, we had, I want to say, I agreed to the production on like a Sunday, and I think I got the storyboard like Monday night. And we shot
pretty
on
quick.
Tuesday.
It was a fast one.
It was great. But it was a message and a reason that I thought was worth telling. And I think if you feel connected to why the story matters, then what you add to the story is just going to be that much more furthered. What I love to say is that when you know the Holy Spirit, you don't have to worry too much about your, you know, acting real, what you have experienced thus far on camera. And there's a little bit of back and forth. So there's this thought that let's say there's this thought, especially for young actors, that that you can only pull from past experience. And let's say you're producing for high school, and you've got, you know, a 15-year-old, and they have to play a divorcee, and they've never been divorced. And so in the secular, you kind of have to agree that they can only give you this one up to this level of performance because they haven't experienced it. But when we walk with the Holy Spirit, we walk with access to a full range of emotion. And if we can tap into acting, if we can appreciate it for the craft and the tool that it is, instead of picking a scab from a past experience and really only limited to our exposure to the world so far, there's some pretty cool things that can take place. And you can make a safe space for yourself to learn about a character without taking on the character for your own identity.
Wow,
which is really cool. Because then you have access to so much storytelling. Because if it's a whole story, if it's a great story to be told, there's going to be an evil, there's going to be a good, and good is going to win. So we shouldn't be worried to play, dark characters or characters that are entangled in darkness if it's a story that is promoting truth.
That's good.
And so I mean, you can probably track down just about any of my kiddos, and they can, hopefully they would go ahead and verify, but we kind of go pretty, deep in the sauce on what it takes to find the grit. And we don't shy away from it, because I think as believers, if we shy away from the extremities in dark, then we are pulling away from how bright the light can shine.
Wow, that's good. And
that's just a waste of our time, a waste of our money. So when you walk with the Holy Spirit, you can practice safe rooms to be able to unlock what characters need instead of just pulling from your own experience. Now, that's good. There can be spaces where you pull from your own experiences that are healthy, but It's just so not a big recommendation.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot in the secular world that promotes that first, or method acting, that you have to walk into a character by letting that character take on your entire 24 hours in a day. And I just think, I think that storytelling is so powerful. It's so needed. But it shouldn't take the place of your vivid day-to-day story that the Lord is working through.
Yeah, no, that's really good. No,
yeah.
that's so good. And then you brought up even teaching the kids. I think I love hearing that, because it's like, I think everyone who has grown in the industry in some way, whatever it is, should be doing that. You got to be giving back. You got to be like, I'm not going to be here much longer on earth. Like, I want that next generation to get it. You know, we have a joke, me and another guy here on set on the show is, Kelly will always say, what's my 150-year plan? And I think it's like, well, what, you know, having the opportunity to speak into others' lives or to pour into them in this industry from acting or directing or producing is like so important. Because like, well, if I'm gonna make a project, I want your kids to watch my project.
Wow.
Not just because it's like something I thought was hot in the moment.
Right.
You know, like I want to make a piece of art that generations talk about.
Quality.
Not just something that was like, all right, it was a trendy thing. I did it. I paid for the CGI. It was all wild, hot, and made ticket sales. Done. I'm going to do 5 more of them in a year. It's like, no.
Right.
You know, we want something that's going to last. So if you were to give, this is kind of on the spot, but if you're going to say like some of your kiddos, they're in that lane, they're in theater, they're like, I'm inspiring to maybe act. What is 5 tips? It doesn't have to be 5, but give me some tips, some quick nuggets of what would you tell that teenage actor? What would you tell that young, high schooler? Hey, if you want to get into this, I would start doing this, or I would learn a little bit of that. What are some of those things that like impacted you in walking that out?
Yeah. Get really picky with your circle. Get really picky with your circle. Make sure that the voices that you're listening to are going to promote you in directions that are life-giving. So not everyone that thinks you should be an actor is going to be life-giving. Yeah. And not everyone that thinks you shouldn't be an actor is not going to be life-giving. Yeah. But know what you stand for. Okay. Know how you are going to apply it on just an interpersonal level. Because at the end of the day, you take off the makeup. I had this one costume change where I went for a showcase. It was this massive, thousands of people dance production, but it was a Christmas production, and they wanted me to play Cinderella. And in the next number, I played a penguin. And I had 46 seconds to change from Cinderella to a penguin. And it's the worst thing that could have possibly happened to my students, because now I have a back in my day story. So every time they complain about a costume change or I don't have enough time or whatever, back in my day.
Went from beauty to penguin.
Hopefully you get the chance as an actor to, be that chameleon and take on all these different spaces and realities. And that's so fun, because it's supposed to be fun, because it is supposed to be play. Yeah. And then when you go home and you get in bed and everything is shut off and you close your eyes, you have to know a couple things. You have to know who your God is. You have to know who you are. Yeah. And you have to know at a basic level what actions you're going to do to reflect those two truths of who he is, and because of who he is, who you're going to be. Wow. And you have to make sure that those actions, what you do, who you talk to, how you talk to, are going to reflect that, because you're not going to have peace. You're going to have a little squirmy, I don't know if I should do this throughout everything. So you got to know those things. And then you just be really intentional with who you're around, whether it's your peers, whether it's your teachers, whether it's your professors. Make sure that the people you're listening to, even from a mentor state, in their own way are speaking from platforms that you respect, and not just because they are showing you a kindness or showing you a level of attention. You got to make sure that that they know truth, they know worth, and they've done something with their own time before they tell you how to work your own. That's so good. Wow. It's important. Come on. And then from an acting perspective, from the arts, protect your inspiration, like it's your livelihood, because if you work hard, it can be. If not even if you work hard, if you walk into the right spaces and those opportunities open up, your inspiration can be a part of your livelihood. So protect your inspiration. Protect what kind of art you're receiving with your eyes, what kind of art you're receiving with your ears, and how you apply yourself to art. If you are discouraged when you see great acting, look at the why. Yeah. We should see great acting and go, oh, that was great, and now I'm going to run with this because I got this, or whatever. Make sure that what you've got on the inside feels healthy, so that you should want to promote it to the outside.
So good. Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay.
And then audition for everything.
Okay. Audition for everything.
Well, audition for a lot.
Yeah.
Even if you know that you can't make it, you want to make sure that you treat people with honor and respect. So you don't want to burn bridges before they start.
It's good.
So if you know that you would never, ever, 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 ever walk into a project, then don't waste their time. Don't ask them to waste your time. But practice getting rejected so that it propels you and doesn't hold you back.
I think that one's important. You know, like we've had enough actors and actresses come on, and that's a really like, they're either starting with that one or that's for sure getting mentioned.
Right.
You know, like, hey, you're going to learn by getting told no, but there's that one that's going to say yes. And it's going to be really, really good because it's the right fit.
Right.
I think that's one that sticks out a lot is from people who are like doing acting at a young level that can be seen the wrong way. Sure. It's like, well, no, it's not you. It's just, I didn't need that. You're perfect for this thing. I'm looking for it for this thing.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, you know, it's higher up stuff can go as far as like, what's the exact fit? You just have longer hair than I want.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my gosh, what? I'll cut my hair.
Right.
But it's like not being willing to give up that if that's like, okay, you know what? I don't want to lose my other opportunities because of these kind of things.
And I just didn't know that when I was only acting. It wasn't until I walked into the production side and I was casting my own shows that you just learn how much of you is considered for a role and how much else is considered that has nothing to do with you.
Yep.
When a cast list goes out,
So true.
when a production set list goes out, it's just,
Come on.
And there's some life in that. You can get excited about it not just being about you.
Well, it makes it super special when it does work.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is really cool. I'm the exact fit they want.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just because I sold it to them or I won them over. It was like, no, this is exactly what they were looking for.
And then your art is better because
Yes.
you're not straining.
Not trying to be something else. Yeah. So good. Okay. So where can people find you? Like, let's say they're like, hey, you know what? I need her in my next film. I got to talk to her about directing. How do I get started in theater? Where can somebody connect with you?
Yeah, so my Instagram page is probably my best page,
Okay.
and that is _ Erica Gallegos, ERICAGALLEGOS. And then I'm also dancing for Magnify School of Dance. You can see us all over all of our stuff there. We're located here in Houston, Texas.
Come on.
And then I am the production director for theater at Concordia Lutheran High School.
Awesome.
So we're doing that a ton, and stay
Sweet.
tuned. There's stuff coming up.
Come on. Always stuff. I feel like every creative's got something coming out because they're supposed to.
I started writing again, which is really great. And I'm
Good.
excited to see what happens in those endeavors. It was almost like a faucet. I was like, I don't know if I should. And then
Hey, open it up.
people come.
Let it go. That's awesome. Erica, thank you so much for hopping on with us today. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Hey, if you haven't been to For the One Studio where we're shooting this right now, you definitely got to come take a visit. Shot a ton of stuff here. You've been here. Actually, this is your first time here. What do you think?
First time.
What do you
I
think?
love it. It is so great. It's so
on.
great.
Yeah.
You absolutely should come on down.
Yeah, this is such a sweet spot. So again, a wide variety, 4 sets you can shoot on For the One Studio. You have your next production here for sure. So come check us out. But until next time, this is Set Life, and we'll see you on the next one.